Good evening, everyone, and welcome to week 5, or actually our closing week of our amazingly popular series this summer of Meet the Artist. And I am not allowed to do any speaking of our amazing artist tonight because Cheryl wants all the glory. So I'm going to go ahead and just run us through a little bit. I've been given explicit instructions. Joby, just hand this over. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to hand this over. Before I do, though, I want to welcome all of you and remind you we're very excited about our night tonight and also what's coming up in the near future. So I know most of you have been with us many times, and hopefully you're using that text feature, which reminds you on Tuesdays, especially the Tuesdays that we are having programming, because as many of you know, this summer we've been on again, off again, meaning a couple nights we're doing programming. Hey there, Denise, welcome to the show from Sanctuary, really, literally from Sanctuary Online. Anyway, we have been working 2 weeks a month having programming. Our award-winning book club with Cheryl's fabulous following has been vibrant this summer. And then the other off week, we've been meeting just phenomenal artists. And so that same thing we have tonight teed up. In the meantime, on the off weeks, when you all are out enjoying summer, we've actually been working and we've been redesigning Sanctuary Online. So we're going to continue a little bit about that. But first, I want to thank our artist, Edie. You're here. We can give you a round of applause. Woo! Edie kicked off our series earlier this summer. We went to Jason Hanish, who was an artist, and Shelley King was week 3. And then we did quilting last month with Amy and Pat Lugwood, which was just really well received. And then Jason also offered us a painting to auction off for the benefit of Sanctuary in the Woods. And we want to remind everybody that painting, the auction closes this coming Monday, August 16th at 12 noon Eastern time. So if you want to go see any of Jason's work or see the painting, you can go to our website, sanctuaryinthewoods.com. And there's much more of Jason's art at his website, hanishart.com. Now here, this is exciting. We have a full fall schedule already teed up. We're very excited. So tonight we're going to be here with Hamaila and Cheryl's interview. And then we are going to finish our summer book series with August 24th. Our book conversation will be Out on a Limb by Shirley MacLaine. And then on the 31st and on the 7th and the 14th, we will be working on redesigning CLM. So we're going to start full on back with our fall programming on September 21st. And of course, it only makes sense to say, what did you do this summer? So Denise, you can send pictures of the goat saying, well, I spent the last part of it at Sanctuary in the Woods. Edie, you were traveling all over Michigan and DC. So we'll be asking you to send in some great pictures, tell some stories, and just enjoy, our summer vacation coming to a close. And then the September Book Club, a book that we do not have on the books yet. So next week on the 24th, we will actually vote on a book for September. And then we have the most amazing programming beginning in October. We're going to go week to week again. And anybody want a little, some hints?
Of course.
I do, Joby. Oh, I'd love some hints. Okay, I thought you might. So we're going to start with human sexuality in the Bible, a 2-session series. I'm going to interview Ken Martin on where his kind of passion around human sexuality came from. And we'll do kind of interview with Ken. The second week, we're going to do lots of teaching around human sexuality in the Bible. And then the third week, we're going to do a phenomenal Q&A. So really a nice full October series. Hey, Jane Ann, welcome, my friend.
Hi, sorry, I'm a little late.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's summertime. And then on the book club, we've got a special book club series coming up as well. And then we are going to, in November, we have some amazing interviews teed up. And then we're going to work with the winter solstice. So I'm going to give you no more than that. I think that's plenty to whet your appetite. But we have booked it and we are ready to go back full on in the fall. Cheryl, you told me after that to be quiet.
Okay.
So, since anybody who knows me knows how difficult that is, I'm just going to mute myself and enjoy the
You
conversation.
can jump in anytime you want. That's okay. Welcome,
Hamaila,
everybody.
Yeah,
And,
thank you so much for being here tonight, Hamaila. Really, I'm excited for tonight's interview.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it, Hamaila. We're really excited to have you here. So now what I wanted to do first was just say, Edie Disler was the one that suggested Hamaila as a very interesting artist. And I just got to say, you know, that was totally an understatement. So thank you, Edie, for bringing Hamaila to us. And I just know that I don't know you that well, Hamaila, but in the few conversations that we've had and in the exploration of your website and getting to know it and stuff, I've discovered that you're, you know, intelligent, very caring, generous, adventurous for sure, creative, you know, and lots of fun. And so definitely somebody that I'd like to get to know better. And I think the folks here would like to get to know as well. So that's exciting. And so we also have I discovered a lot that you seem to have found your passion in creating jewelry. And I'd love it if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to jewelry making.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me and thank you for the kind words. I feel very welcome. So just a little bit about me. I am the daughter of 2 Pakistani immigrants. My parents came in the 80s over to America. My dad joined the military in '94, so I grew up in the military. And so we moved all over my entire life. In 2005, we ended up in Texas in San Antonio. That's where I did high school. I'd always been really creative.
Mommy's eating.
Growing up as the oldest child of immigrants, my parents kind of had my path and my future planned out for me. And my dad's a pharmacist, so he wanted another pharmacist in the family. And I didn't think that like creativity or design could be a career path. So my creativity would come out in little ways. I know like in middle school and high school, I tend to like take earrings apart and put new things on them. And like my favorite one that everyone knew me for in high school was like, I think I was dared, or it was in like the school cafeteria at some point, and someone was like, oh, I don't think you can make earrings out of this. And I like took salt and pepper packets and I put them on chains and I wore them for an entire year until I needed to like bake potato. But it was a great pair of earrings. I loved them. Everyone loved them. So I did a lot of little things like that. But to me, they didn't stand out as like something I should follow as a career path. So after high school, I went to pharmacy school. That was not my calling. I dropped out after 2 years. And then I ended up with a degree in nutrition, just so I could get out of there. Because by the time I dropped out of pharmacy school, I'd been in college for 4 years, 2 years of prereqs, 2 years of pharmacy school. And if I wanted a design degree at that point, it's another 4 years.
Oh,
So I was like, that's too much for me. I've got enough student loans. And so I graduated with a degree in nutrition. And then after that, I just had a hunger to learn. And so I really wanted to do design. I really wanted to do furniture design. But when I went to Austin Community College, they didn't have anything in furniture design. So I started making up my own thing. I did graphic design, I did drafting, I did drawing and woodworking and typography and all these other like things that interested me. And then eventually I was in art sculpture or like metal sculpture. And I kept making bracelets. And my instructor was like, do you know we have an entire jewelry department? I think you do really well there. And so I started there in spring of 2018. And then I launched my website by September 2018 because people kept asking to buy my things. And that's how it started. I did not know what I was getting into, but here we are.
That's awesome. And that's where you met Edie, yes?
Yeah, we met, if I'm not mistaken, in casting one in like, I think it was fall of 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And she went on to do other stuff. Yeah, thank you, Joey. Go ahead and just show those 3 photos there. So there's one of just a photo of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a photo of you in a market. Is that correct?
Yeah, this was a craft tour market with Boss Babes ATX, and that was in spring of 2019. Yeah.
Awesome. And what is this tool that you're using here?
That's a jeweler's saw. This is in my current setup here in Arizona. Yeah, it was the first thing I learned to use in jewelry classes.
Wow.
It's still one of my least favorite, but it's very useful. I'll give it that.
Well, that's cool. Well, we love that. And thank you so much for sharing with us. It sounds like you've lived in a lot of different places and landed where a lot of military retirees do in Texas, right?
We went kicking and screaming. They tried to send us to Texas for years and we're like, no, we're not going to do it. And then once we got there, we loved it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, at least you found Austin instead of just San Antonio, you know? Come on.
They both have their charms, but yeah, my parents definitely loved Austin more. They've built their retirement home there.
Oh,
So that's now forever going to be home base.
oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that your parents lived there. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things is it's really always interesting for us to hear how artists go through their creative process. I remember we asked Edie this, we ask almost everybody that, how they design. And we'd love to hear you share about your process with some of your pieces. And why don't you start with the first one of the Chula threaders and start with that. So Jovi, can you pull up that design?
All right, so the Chula threaders are from my newest collection, the Unsung Architects collection. And for almost all my pieces, they have a story behind them. I really love to share the stories of other people and basically like uplift other people or like, share their stories, help them become better known. So the Chula threaders are inspired by a Pakistani architect named Yasmin Larry. She's the first female architect in Pakistan and she's actually still alive. And so she has a story where she used to design buildings for the rich and the wealthy in Pakistan. And then after a while, she realized that that's not what she wanted to do. And she started focusing on the poor in Pakistan and helping them. And so over the last decade or so, after the earthquake, so I guess like 15, 16 years now, she's been focusing more on helping the poor. And one of the things she does is she has this program where she teaches rural women and just people who live in poverty, teaching them skills and helping them like find a career path and build an honest life for themselves. And so one of the ways she does that is by a chula. It's a stove. Chula is the word for stove. So she created these stoves that were outdoor, that were elevated, that were very different from traditional chulas and stoves that Pakistani women used. Traditional ones are indoors, they're dark, they're on the floor. There's a lot of like hazards, health hazards to using them. And so she created one that was outdoors, that was elevated, that gave the women dignity. And she taught women how to make them so they could go into other spaces and help others like make them. And women have started like earning livings through that. And so these chula earrings are threader earrings that are based off of that design of that stovetop. And so you can see them there. And so yeah, the back threader part that goes through your earlobe is the smoke. And then you see the little stove and the pot on top of it and the top of the earring.
That is so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
They are beautiful.
Thank you. I think they're the best sellers from this collection. It's this one, right? Like the new Gorna ring that do really, really well. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the next one you're going to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's one of my favorites. So this one was inspired by architect Hassan Fatih. And so he was an architect for the people as well. He also designed for the poor and tried to elevate them and their living situations. So this one was based on the architecture of this village called New Gorna near Luxor in Egypt. And so through that, he was trying to create a space for this community that was specific to this community. And every like housing unit was specific to the people who were going to live in it. He really thought about the people who were occupying those spaces, who were going to be utilizing those spaces, as opposed to like a lot of architects or companies, they make a lot of cookie cutter places. And so me and my friend Aisha Erkin, who I collaborated with for this collection, we pulled those motifs of those arches and we made that new Gorna ring from that. And that was actually the first piece we created in this collection. And there it is.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh.
I actually am in the
Wow.
process of making a rose gold one of that.
Oh, you have you made a rose gold one of that?
I'm in the process of it. I
Oh,
have
you are?
a husband in Australia who's gifting it to his wife because she's pregnant with her first child.
Oh, wow.
So I just got in all the gold and that's my plan for tomorrow.
Wow, that's beautiful. Oh, that'll be that. I bet that's going to be absolutely gorgeous.
I'm really
Yes.
excited about
How
it.
long would it take you to make the ring from now that you've got the design? how long start to finish to make the ring, Hamaila?
Usually I can do it within about 4 hours to a day. It just kind of depends. If something messes up, then usually
Yeah.
a little bit longer. But yeah. And a lot of the work is just in the polishing and the cleaning up too.
Yeah,
So
beautiful, beautiful.
And you do these all
Beautiful.
yourself, right? Or do you have
Yes.
anybody else that's doing them with you? Not now, anyway.
currently a one-person team. I do everything myself. I'm in the process of trying to find help in the community because I do live in a community here, and I'm sort of starting up an apprenticeship program where I can teach people or trade them jewelry for their help, because I'm not at a point where I can pay anyone right now, but that's the goal. So yeah, there's a lot of people in the community who want to learn how to smith. So I'm hoping to start classes here soon.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Be very fun too. And we'll talk about where you live in a little bit. So that's interesting. Here's another one.
My favorite.
This is Joe's favorite.
This one might be my favorite too.
Yeah, good taste, Hamaila.
Thank you. But yeah, Lena Bobardi was a Brazilian Italian architect. And one of the things that fascinated me about her was that she wasn't just an architect. She did so many different things. She was a jewelry designer as well, actually. But furniture design was my first love. It's still something I want to get back to. So when I learned she designed furniture as well, I researched all of her furniture and I fell in love with this chair. And this specific chair, it was really popular, I believe, in the 60s and 70s, but it's just a metal base and the actual bowl seat of it is like fully adjustable. You can take it off and arrange it however you want. And so me and Aisha took like the main shapes from it and created these, sorry, these beautiful threaded earrings that are probably my favorite from this collection, and I wear them a lot.
Oh,
There
they're
you go.
beautiful.
Yeah, I think they're just stunning. Yeah,
They're really simple,
Wow.
but they are a statement.
Elegant.
Yeah.
elegant, right, Yvette, absolutely.
Yeah, they're
Carol,
really
should we move on to your favorite?
Well, not yet. First, we're gonna talk a minute about this unsung architects that this series of based on all of this. So it was based on all of these 4 architects, and you've talked about 3 of them, you know, or you've showed some of their designs actually. But where did this come from? You know, this unsung architects thing. How did that series come about?
All right. So one of my friends, Aisha Erkin, she is an architect and she's a woman of color architect. And like during her practice, she saw that most of the people she was around were white men, and most of the architects that she was taught about in school were white men. So she started this series on her Instagram where she was highlighting the stories of architects of color, especially ones who weren't well known in the Western world. And if like I didn't go to pharmacy school, I probably would have been an architect. If I had known what an architect did and what architecture was when I was younger, that's probably what I would have done. So it really caught my eye. And so I started talking to her about it. Me and her have formed this other organization back in 2019 called Brown Girls Food Club, where we find like restaurants, like mom and pop restaurants by people of color or immigrants, and we try and support them. So we had that bond there. So when I reached out to her about doing a collaboration on unsung architects, she was completely down for it. She came out to Arcosanti for a few weeks and we did a lot of research and we put a lot of designs together. And it's gotten a really great response. Yasmin Lari, out of the 4 architects here, she's the only one still living. Her team found our designs and they're like giving us a shout out in their newsletter. Jeffrey Bawa, who's the one architect we haven't talked about yet, his trust in Sri Lanka found our work and they're going to offer it in their shop. So we're in the process of like setting up a wholesale order with them. So it's been really incredible.
And Brown Girls Food Club, that's what you call this? That sounds very fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's just a lot of brown and black women, because Austin's a very white city. And so a lot of my brown friends didn't have other brown friends.
Yeah.
So we would just put out an Instagram post, be like, hey, we're gonna go to this spot owned by like this immigrant family or something, come join us. And within 3 months, we would have 40 people showing up to our events.
Wow.
So there was a need for it. And then COVID hit, so everything kind of stopped. But now we're in different cities and we're looking to expand within our own cities now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just love that you focused on and together with Aisha, you know, cis, non, gay, non-straight, white males, and talked about other kinds of, just educating people that there are actually other architects out there besides that model. And
besides Frank Lloyd Wright and Frank Gehry, there are a lot of other architects who have a lot of really good work.
there you go. And to me, I'll tell you, Hamaila, this is one of the many things that I feel like that you do that is educating other people, and it's really something that is making a difference in in the world, because when you share these stories, you broaden our horizons, and I think that that's really an effective thing to do, to kind of open up to everyone in the world. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I just really like to learn, and I always just assume that other people like to learn too, so I just like to share what I have.
Yeah. Well, now let's go on to my favorite piece. Come on, Joby, pull it up. All right.
And I'm actually wearing them today too.
Ooh. Are you wearing the big ones or the
These
little?
are like my everyday earrings. The big ones. I do have the little ones. I have the little ones here, but I'm wearing the big ones right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How big are the little ones, just for my
The little ones are half an inch in each
half an inch?
direction.
Okay, good. That's what I'm gonna get. Those.
Carol, you can shop later. This is
All
actually,
right, sorry.
this is a recorded program, honey. So yeah, you.
Get with the program, Cheryl. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about these earrings?
So these are probably like one of my first pieces I made, like fall of 2018, before I launched my website.
Wow.
And this was one of those happy accidents where I was just in class at ACC in a studio space, just experimenting. And these were supposed to be like cubes that hung on chains or were part of a bigger earring. But I got to a certain point and I was like, wait a second, I can stick that post through my ear and it can be an earring. And so I got really excited. I put it together like that, and it's been my bestseller ever since.
Wow.
So it was a very Bob Ross moment. It was a happy accident.
Yeah, so I'm not the only one that likes them, huh?
Is it a lightweight? Very
They're
lightweight?
very lightweight. Yeah, I try and make my jewelry lightweight because I don't want to stretch out my earlobes. I love big jewelry. I love wearing big earrings, but I need it to be lightweight. So yeah, these are lightweight enough to where a lot of the times I forget I have them on.
Yeah.
And they still make
Let's see hold your hair back so we can see. That's the large. Okay. I know, I'm shopping too. I'm sorry.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
You bet. Actually, there is nothing wrong with shopping. I think every one of our artists has had, we love that. I mean, you all know that part of the reason we do this is to expand networks, right? And to show and share. So any artist that can get any sales off our time this summer, we are happy for you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hamaila, so far you're doing pretty good. I can't get through the slides because folks are like, okay, now where on the website is this one? Okay. We'll show you all that in a few minutes.
So where does the name Nabi come from for these? Nabi cube earrings.
Nabi is my younger sister.
Okay.
And she's probably the most creative person I know. Like when I was growing up, I had creativity in me and it would come out in ways. But when she was younger, she unapologetically was like, I am creative. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to become an artist. So I took a lot of strength from her, even though she's younger than me. She's not in the arts now. She has a degree in like printmaking, but she does a lot of like environmental nonprofit stuff in Alaska. And she's still one of the most amazing people I know. Wow. But like my first collection, a lot of it was named after women in my life because myself included, and the women in my life, they all have unusual names that we never really see anywhere else. So I wanted to illuminate that. My parents made up my name and I've never seen it anywhere else, which is why I named my website after me. It's like, I want people to have confidence in their names. And like growing up, I'd heard a lot of stories of like children of immigrants or children with like non-Western unusual names who hated their names because they were always butchered or, you know, they just didn't fit in. So I take a lot of pride in my name and I take a lot of pride in the names of the women around me. So I wanted to showcase that. So Nabi got the cube earrings.
That's cool. Well, and I love how when you start off your website, when you go to About Hamaila, you actually spell it out phonetically so people will know how to say it, you know, and it did take us like a little time to figure out, all right, now let's make sure we say her name right, you know, because
I appreciate the effort you put into that. It means a lot.
Oh,
I
good.
put it on my business card too. On the back of my business card, it has phonetic spelling.
Oh, good.
Hamaila, if you only knew how let's say rigorous Cheryl has been over me, because I haven't had a chance to speak with you. I'm the chick behind the scenes making the slides and typing your name. So I've been mispronouncing your name all week, and I was threatened within an inch of my life. She's like, get it right. And you know, and the funny thing is I'm crazy about names too, because my name is Joe, and you think, well, that should be easy. And all my life I've had to explain my name. So I totally get where you're coming from. And I just love everything about you. My goodness. And you naming your website, but also writing your name, like on this, if you can see this, where the earrings are set, if you can see that, that's
my
your
signature.
logo, right? Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Cheryl's been diligent.
Now, these were part of, you gifted a set of these to someone. Can you tell us about that story?
All right. So Imogen Heap is my favorite musician. I've loved her for over a decade, big part of my life. And when she released her last album, Sparks, she had like a deluxe set that was like $300. I got the deluxe set and it came with a sound check. So next time she was in town, you could go to her sound check. And so she came to Austin in June of 2019. This was less than a year after I'd started my business. And armed with the sound check, I was like, wait, if this is an opportunity to gift her something, I'm going to take it. Like, she's provided me so much through my life, through her music. And just, she's just been so inspiring to me in the way she like explores her creativity, and she's always looking for new things to do. So I wanted to give something back to her as a thank you for everything she's done for me. And so I put together a little package with like 4 pairs of earrings. The sound check was in the day, obviously right before the concert. I didn't get to meet her then, but I had like told her team beforehand that I was going to gift her this. And so one of her manager or someone or her assistant like took the earrings from me. They're like, we'll give it to her before the show. And I was like, great, thank you. That's amazing. And that's all I expected. And then when I actually went to the show, she came out wearing my earrings and I almost started crying.
Oh.
So, because she's someone I've looked up to for more than a decade. So to see her wearing my earrings in person was just very, very surreal, especially because I just started out. And so after the show, I got the opportunity to talk to her a little bit too, and I thanked her for wearing them. And she continued to wear them in her Instagram posts for like months after that. She was wearing them in pictures. And I joined like her Discord channel or something a year ago. And that's a place where like artists can communicate with their audience and like create a community. So when I joined it, I mentioned that story and she responded and she's like, yes, I still wear those earrings. So it was really validating and really amazing to have that experience and know that she enjoyed my work so much. I had taken gotten so much inspiration from her. So yeah, that was probably one of the best things that's happened to me through my business.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. That's especially if you can gift them to somebody who's given so much back to you, right? You know,
Exactly,
so
yeah.
how cool is that? Yeah. And these earrings actually, you got you an award, yes?
Yeah. So in 2019, beginning of 2020, end of 2019, I was given a Guildform's award in Best of Design for the year. So Guildform is a manufacturing company. It's a really cool, small little company out of Detroit that's like Black woman owned. And basically you go to them with an idea and they'll make a CAD file of your jewelry, and then they will 3D print it and cast it in whatever metal you want. I had obviously been hand making all of these beforehand, so I was looking into an option of seeing if I could get it done more efficiently. And so I used Guildform to make some of my cube earrings. I ultimately reverted back to hand making them all, and I still hand make them all right now. But it was a very valuable experience, like working with them, and I still like applaud them for the work they do. So it was really, really amazing to win that award, especially because I didn't know it was a thing and that I was in the running for it. It was a complete surprise, but it was really meaningful.
And this being one of your very earliest pieces, and that's what got you the award. That's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
That says a lot about you. I mean, I'm guessing that you've got lots of awards coming in your future. So, you know.
Hamaila, why did you revert back to doing them by hand? I'm just curious.
The quality was a little bit different than I wanted it to be. I had 1 or 2 pieces that snapped, and like, even though I got them cast, I didn't get them polished by Guildform. And in order to make them in order to get them to the standard that I wanted them to be at, they had to be polished. And it was too much work for me to polish them by hand, but it was too expensive for me to have them polish it. So right now I'm doing it by hand again, but if I have the capital to like cast them in the future, I might do that.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, does anybody have any questions or comments so far here? Before we move on.
Yeah, I shared
Yeah,
folks.
go ahead, Denise. Yep.
I'm just curious, as a jewelry maker, do you have any desire, or do you ever work with stones or gems of any type?
I occasionally do. I've been trained in stone setting, but for some reason, just the raw silver and the gold like speak to me more. But I have done some commissions for engagement rings, so I do stones in there, and for custom work, I will do stones. But yeah, I haven't done too much in my own collection work. Occasionally, I'll find a stone I really love, so I'll make a ring. But it's not something I really put in a collection. That would be a one-of-a-kind piece.
And we'll talk about that too in a moment. Yeah. In your website, one of the things is you talk about accessibility to your jewelry, and you giving back 5% and that sort of thing. Can you address that a little bit for us and your philosophy behind that?
All right. Well, it's always been super important for me to give back. Like, I was raised a Muslim. I'm not the most practicing Muslim right now, but the core tenets of Islam are still a big part of my life. And one of the 5 pillars of Islam is just giving back and charity. And so anytime I have access to any sort of money, I do like to give something back. And whether that's like through my jewelry or through a percentage. Like, there was a time when I first started my business where every month I would donate 5% to a nonprofit of my choosing. And then once I partnered up with Arcosanti for my second collection was based on Arcosanti. I did an actual licensing agreement with Arcosanti to where they got a percentage of my proceeds. And so they became the nonprofit that I was donating towards. And so now my model has become that for every collection I release, I partner with a nonprofit and give a percentage to them. So for the Unsung Architects collection, I've partnered with Refugees International, and then I give money to them based on what I get.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, there were some other tenets of Islam that you shared with me that that kind of inform your life and inform your business. Can you share those as well?
I mean, a lot of it is just like kindness and compassion and community and like taking care of each other. And so, I mean, there's not much I can do as a small business owner who makes jewelry, but I try and do what I can. Even if that's just like, I try and do a lot of giveaways just so more people have access to my jewelry, even if they can't afford it. And just, yeah, giving back and like holding community events or like giving resources to other people or trying to mentor other people, like any way that I can share my knowledge and help other people grow is valuable and fulfilling to me. And it comes back to like what my parents taught me when I was growing up through the lens of Islam.
Yeah, that's cool. I especially like too, when you talked about accessibility, that you said, if you have to do it in 4 payments or whatever in order to buy this, you can do it, and there's no interest attached to that.
Yeah.
That's
cool. No interest is a big part of Islam too. Like,
yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like my parents try and find a bank where they don't get interest because they don't think it's fair. But like, yeah, but you're never supposed to really charge interest. You're always supposed to be fair. And so I've had people who want some of my pieces, but they want them in gold, but they can't pay all at once. So I will like manually every month send them an invoice for that portion until they can pay it off, because I want it to be accessible. I want people to be able to wear it, and I don't want them to hurt themselves in the process. I don't want it to burn a hole in your wallet. So yeah, I try and work with people.
That's wonderful.
That's all going to come back to you. I know you're just starting out, and it's not, you don't have a whole lot of money coming to you, but with doing those kinds of things, and giving back and stuff, it will just come back. It's just going to be huge.
I'm just trying to treat other people the way I would want to be treated if I was in that situation. the crux of it. That's the crux of like all the major religions, basically.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's talk about this Arcosanti where you live now, okay?
It's
It's a
wild.
community in Arizona. Now, how did you end up there?
Okay, so Arcosanti, I had heard about it back in 2017. And then in the beginning of 2020, my family was taking a road trip from Tucson up to Utah. And we passed by the exit for Arcosanti. And I was like, wait a second, I've heard that name. I need to go here. And my parents were like, no, not right now. But I came back in February of 2020. I went to Tucson for the gem show there. And then I took a few days off to come to Arcosanti. And Arcosanti is a experimental town. It's about an hour north of Phoenix. It was started in 1970 by Italian architect Paolo Soleri. And his vision was basically a very densely populated city that didn't take up a lot of land. Like it was supposed to be a space where everyone could work together, but enjoy nature, but also like spend time together in community outside of work, where you didn't need cars, where you can have that community. And the architecture is beautiful. Like when I first visited in February 2020, within hours, I had designs like popping into my head. I wasn't even trying to design. I just couldn't stop it. And so I was in Arcosanti that first time for 3 days. And at first I was jokingly asking people like, how do I move here? And then by the last day, I was like, I went up to the front and I was like, no, how do I actually move here? Like, who do I need to talk to? And at that time, they had just started as a small business program where they were trying to like, not quite be an incubator for small businesses, but bring in small businesses and like see how they would do here. And so I was the first and only business to actually come in from the outside and set up shop here and run out of the space. We had 4 other businesses from like people who were already residents who started their own businesses here. So that's how I ended up here.
So is this essentially a residential community? And
And
yeah,
a tourist attraction, yeah. There's about
attraction,
60
yeah.
to 80 people living here at any given time. So it's a fraction of what Soleri envisioned it to be.
Yeah.
And it's still technically an active construction site. Like they are always in the process of like trying to build it and make it better. But yeah, it's a residential community, also a tourist attraction. We do tours every single day. We have overnight visits or overnight guests and Airbnbs and guest rooms and all of that as well.
Wow.
It's a really great place if you just want to get away and disconnect from everything. We're about 30-40 minutes from like any major city.
Yeah. Well, so what I'm thinking of doing is, you know, put an order in for the earrings and then just kind of come out to Arcosanti and pick them up, right?
That would be great. I would give you a tour. I could connect you with all the right people. I would love that. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Well, so do you have to apply to live there no matter what? I mean, if they have these residents there, or?
It's so in the past, there used to be a workshop program and you had to go through the workshop program, volunteer, and then find a job here to stay. So currently it's kind of in flux. There is new leadership. They're in the process of getting a new executive director and things are going to change. But it does look like at the current moment, you have to volunteer here first and then pick up a position here and then reside through that.
Wow. Okay, cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
A real community, an intentional community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
It's a strange community, but it's really, really special. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So here's one of the designs. You said designs just started popping in your head. And here's one.
That
Right?
was the very first one, actually. Those are the keyhole hoops. That keyhole motif is visible throughout Arcosanti. And so, yeah, that was the first design that came to mind. And then for months, I tried not to make it because I was like, this is going to be too difficult to execute, but it wouldn't leave me alone. And I eventually made it. And that was the start of the Arcosanti collection.
That's awesome. So now you have an Arcosanti collection as well.
I
Wow.
do,
Yeah. All right, somebody's making a hissing sound.
I'm gonna
Okay.
try and fix that, honey.
Okay.
I think it's over here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yep, everyone else is muted.
I'm in the lab, and the lab has a lot of like communal workspaces, so someone else is working on something. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, if it's you, if it's just in your place, then that's okay. We just didn't want to, impact what else was going on. So yeah, all right, that's cool. All right, so so you're loving living there right now. Is that it?
I
And
do.
you've been there
I
how
mean,
long?
like I've been here for almost a year. I moved last September. It is 50 years old. So like there's no AC, there's no heating,
Jeez.
which is very interesting in Arizona. But like the community is well worth it. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And you talked about how you make some one-of-a-kind jewelry, but you've got a series on your website that talks about that. And Joey, maybe you can bring that up when you get to a place on it. But can you talk to us a little bit about the one-of-a-kind series and how that got started and how you work that?
Okay, so the One of a Kind series, I started it earlier this summer, or actually I think it was in the spring. And it was because I was getting tired of making the same pieces over and over again, and I wanted to design more and create more and challenge myself. So all the pieces in my One of a Kind piece collection, I release on a weekly basis, and they're made from scraps. They're made from the residual silver and gold from other pieces I've made, and I just repurpose them and recycle them into something new.
Oh.
Yeah, and those.
There you go.
They seem to be selling well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so far these ones are
For
sold
the
out.
most part, yeah. I think there's a few, yeah, that are still up. And those week 13 ones are my newest ones. I took a little bit of a hiatus for the last few weeks because I was traveling, but I started them again last week. There'll be a piece out in 2 days on Thursday.
I was going to ask, how often do you release them?
Yep, just on a weekly basis.
On a weekly? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Do you get
Yvette,
notifications or email list, or you just
there
have
you
to-
go, Yvette. Yes, jump in there, girlfriend. Yeah, tell me.
I do it through my email list. If you go
Okay.
to my website and scroll down to the bottom, there is a place where you can sign up for emails.
Here you go,
and
Yvette.
then-
Okay.
Yep,
And
right
Okay.
down at the right.
There you go.
And every Thursday morning, I'll send that straight to your inbox.
Okay.
You're
Like
like,
first
ping,
dibs.
ping, 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 ping.
Ping,
All
ping.
those subscriptions tonight.
Like the
So
metaphor.
then it is
For right now.
first dibs? Whoever calls in first gets it, or?
I mean, I send it to my email list first, and then the next day I'll put it on social media. So my email list always gets first dibs to it.
Awesome.
Cool.
I think Cheryl was trying to compete with Yvette, so she's saying, is it the first person that
Yeah,
gets
that's
back
what I
to
was
you?
doing, actually.
That
Yeah.
gets the earrings? Because I don't want anything between my wife and my business partner down here. I'm like, oh my goodness, what have
Well,
we done?
we can always trade out. We'll just wear them for
There
a
you
week and then,
go.
or a month,
Yeah,
and then
we'll
we'll
share,
switch.
Yvette. We can share.
Yvette, you always have the best ideas. Well, the pictures changed. Sorry, folks, I haven't, not doing my work here. So those ones, week 6 are still available and on sale.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were a one of a kind piece that I made a few years ago. And then
Awesome.
Beautiful.
So
Wow.
while you were still in Austin in 2019, before COVID started going, you started a group called Ladysmiths of ATX, right? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Okay, so I started that group with my really good friend Hannah Parks, who's also a jewelry maker. But the catalyst for it was that I would go to shows and sell my jewelry, but I'd get jealous because of the competition. And I was like, this is not a good thing. So how do we get over this? So we created a community where we could all kind of learn from each other and grow from each other. So it was just a community of local women jewelers, no matter what medium they made their jewelry in. And at first it just started out as an Instagram page where we'd share like tidbits on how to grow your business, or like we'd interview jewelers and things like that. And then later in the year, in that picture, me and Hannah are on the left. Later in the year in 2019, we were offered this opportunity to rent out this storefront basically. And so we signed the lease for six months. We had 2 weeks to completely renovate the space. We created this beautiful storefront in 2 weeks. We brought in a whole bunch of artists, and the way we had it set up was like, we had, I think, up to 18 artists at a time, and they just had to pay for their shelf space, and any money that they got was theirs.
Wow.
And so we were trying to just keep it as equitable as possible and help people. Like, we weren't trying to make money. We just wanted to help people and get their jewelry out there. And so we opened in time for East, which is a huge studio tour here in Austin in November. We opened that weekend, and in the first weekend or the first 2 weekends, we had made about $14,000.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was really incredible to see the community come out like that and to have this physical space where people could display their stuff and sell their stuff. And I think almost all of our jewelers always got their money back. And we only signed a 6-month lease, so it ended right after COVID started.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the timing worked out. We were glad we didn't sign a year-long lease.
Sure.
But it was really nice to have that space, and it was really nice to see the community come together like that. Me and Hannah have both left Austin, but the other members are still, like, they still do virtual events for jewelers, and they're thinking about getting a physical space again, but we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, you've done a lot of things to just market yourself and to help other people with their experiences as well. That's
that's one of the core tenets of my business, is just like, whatever success we get, we're going to share with other people. We want to make sure everyone's doing well.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Cool. All right, now let's find out. I know that you've still got some of your jewelry that's still in retail stores in Austin, right?
Mhm. There's a
And
few
so-
retail stores in Austin, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So here's some places in Austin. This is on your website, where to find us if
Mhm.
you are in Austin. But where else can we find your jewelry besides going online? Where do you have it in any other places right now, or?
I mean, most of it's online, and I always do free shipping, so it doesn't really matter if you buy it online or in person or anything. But I'm in the process of wholesaling to more places, so hopefully within the next few months, I will have it in more stores across the US. I'm specifically like talking to my dream store in Chicago right now, so hopefully that goes through, and then I'm looking at like museum stores in Phoenix and Arizona as well.
What store in Chicago?
It's called Adornment in Theory, and it's a very specific, like, contemporary jewelry store that focuses on BIPOC jewelry makers. So they've been my dream store to be in for years, since I started my business. So I finally worked up the courage, and I messaged them and I was like, can I send you my line sheets? And they're like, yes, we've seen your work. We would love line sheets.
Oh, wow.
Sent them to them today. So hopefully they like my work, and hopefully my work will be there soon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank
Love
you.
it. So do you obviously you do custom pieces. So does somebody just contact you? They just go into this place on your website and contact you, and that's how you can find out about the pieces or talk to you about custom pieces and stuff? Or
Yeah, that would be the best place to go. Just go to my website or send me an email at hello@hamaila.com with what you're looking for. And then it's just usually a conversation back and forth to see if, like, we are a good fit for each other, if I can actually help you bring the piece you're envisioning to life. And if I can't, I always know someone who can. I'd love to like help you that way too. But yeah, I've had a lot of engagement ring commissions. I've had a few people who are Arcosanti alum who wanted pieces inspired by Arcosanti and things like that. So I love doing custom work.
yeah, I bet. I mean, that sounds like, because you get to create, right? You know,
Exactly. I get to
that's,
design. And that's
yeah.
my favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Cool. Well, I know when I've gone through your website, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I loved going through a lot of your blogs and just finding out more about you and your travels and different things that you have been involved in, and some of your jewelry and so on. It's just really exciting stuff, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you a lot for being here. And is there anything else that you want to share? And then I'll see if anybody has any other questions or answers. I would encourage all of you to go to the website and just look around. And her jewelry is absolutely gorgeous, and she's got a lot of it in a lot of different places. And then her blogs are just fun to watch as well. So
Well, we had a couple folks come in late, Cheryl. So after we're done saying thank you, and after there's questions, I'm going to go ahead. I know Beth would buy like half of this stuff if she could see it. So I'm going to go back
good, yes.
to the PowerPoint before we close up. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, you can go back through the PowerPoint. That'd be a great idea. Anybody have questions, or was there any questions in the chat or anything that you guys want to bring up?
There was a suggestion yet again, I think for every artist we've had, this is how we're going to spend our own money all summer, to commission you, Hamaila, to do a piece for Sanctuary in the Woods. I think it'll sit alongside Edie's piece that we're going to commission her for, and then a Jason's painting, and then a quilt from Amy and Pat, and then we'll have Shelley King play music for all of it to dedicate it. You know, it's like, oh my God.
Amazing, yes.
We are going in debt this summer, and we're happy to.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, and we always can have certain things for the goats, right? You know, they could wear some kind of earrings or something. Probably.
We have goats, Hamaila, and we have chickens, and we have a donkey, and we have a little horsey. And Denise is there caring for all of them right now while the folks who live on site are traveling. So thank you. God bless you, Denise, for literally keeping the lights on and keeping all the varmints up there fed. All the kitty cats, all the doggies, you know.
Our
We have-
pleasure. It's last. We just like to give them a lot of treats and spoil them. That's our
Yeah, of
job.
course.
We have
And try to
chickens.
keep them alive.
Hamaila, did you have anything else that you'd like to share or that came up while we were talking?
I feel like we covered pretty much everything important.
Okay.
This
Here's
is pretty
my
well
question.
rounded.
Excuse me?
Cheryl, Eric's got a question there. Eric, why don't you
Oh,
unmute?
Eric, go for it. Yeah. You have to come off mute, Eric.
He's
I
working.
know, I'm trying.
He's
On one
working.
side, you can hit the space bar. This one I can't.
Okay.
Do you ever do like bolo ties or anything like that?
I've thought about it. I haven't started doing it, but I would be interested in it. Yeah.
And then do you do necklaces too, or just mostly
do.
earrings?
I do, earrings are my favorite, so I do a lot of them, but I do necklaces as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a necklace in there that was actually part of one of the Unsung Architects series, was it not?
I have, I think, 2 necklaces in the Unsung Architects. There's the Mashrabia choker and then the Colombo
Right.
pendant one.
Yeah, the Colombo was
Yeah.
what I was thinking of.
So I
Okay.
don't do a lot of them, but I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Beth, are you already on her website?
Yes.
Yes, I'm looking at one of the necklaces.
Yeah.
That one,
Yeah.
probably my best seller from the Arcosanti collection. That's, yes,
And-
everyone loves that one.
These are beautiful. Do you ship to Canada?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course you would. I tell you what, as soon as I saw your designs, Hamaila, when I was putting the PowerPoint together today, I'm like, I've got to get Beth on this call. I'm like,
I know, that's what I was saying. too,
Sorry,
like-
I was so late.
that's okay. I knew you wanted to see it. I'm gonna cruise through. This was the one from Arcosanti, Beth. And then were you here
I
for the
love the
Nabi
Colombo, too.
earrings? Yeah.
Do you
Nabi
want to
is
show me?
Hamaila's sister's name. And
Ah.
then, oh, hold on here.
What are you doing? Are you trying to show the PowerPoint and we're,
I'm going backwards so that Lisa and
I know, but you have to, are you going to share the screen with them? so
oh,
they
I
can
should
see
be. Yeah, here I am looking at it
Okay.
great myself. Thank you, Cheryl.
Where's
Now we
some of
got
them
Joe
from?
shopping too.
Thank you, Cheryl.
it? You're welcome.
I'm shopping. Yeah, that's why we're a team. There's so Beth. Here's the first. You're gonna have to watch the whole video, Beth, to hear all the stories. Every one of these pieces has a story behind it. It's fabulous to listen to the story as much as enjoy the jewelry. And then the next one, again, another story and a great ring. And Joby's favorite. So I'm buying these, Beth, so you can't have these, okay? Unless you want to
can
share them with
share.
a vet. If you want, if it's one of a kind, you can share them with a vet. We'll be shipping the jewelry around. And then Cheryl's favorite, again, to be shared, maybe with the vet. Oh my goodness. I only have one word. Thank you. One word, many ways to say it. Hamaila, you were amazing. And thank you for, Edie and you were the bookends to our work this summer with our Meet the Artist series. And each conversation has been wonderful. And again, we thank you so much. Want to give folks a shout out. You're your website is easy to find so long as they spell your name properly. I put it here because it took me a while. You know, I kept putting the AI after the L, but now I got it down. So if you all find that, like Cheryl said, there's so much gorgeous, your story, how you share what you do, why you do what you do, why you do it, how you do it. Hamaila, it's your story is simply profound, and the thoughtfulness that you put into everything you do and how you do it. You are just such an initiator of good. And so thank you for blessing us tonight. Edie, thank you for this amazing referral, of course. When we met all of Edie's friends, Hamaila, we knew anybody that she referred would be, you know, as amazing as she is. So I just want to thank everybody again for coming tonight, and to remind you of our calendar, which is next week. We are off, so you enjoy yourselves on the 17th. On the 24th, we will be, it's not the last week of the month, but on the 24th, that is our book club night. So those of you who are book club people, and we're reading Out on a Limb by Shirley MacLaine. God knows that's going to be a phenomenal conversation. Okay. And then in September, we are going to take a few nights off of actual production. So the 7th and 14th will be off, and then we come back full on. So I'm hoping you begin to look for photos of your summer vacation, things you've done, things you've learned, great places you've gone, and a story obviously behind them. And so on the 21st of September, we'll come back and gather our summer adventures and gently move in, finish that month with a book club. And in October, we are full on back to the same programming you enjoyed all last fall and last winter. So that's all I got.
Can I say one thing? Can
Oh
we
my-
all please unmute and give
Yes.
Hamaila a real thank you? Thank you. All right. Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Well,
It's
thank
beautiful.
you so much
Super
for having me.
impressive.
This was so delightful, and I enjoyed this so much. So thank you so
That was
much.
very interesting.
I'm gonna date
Yes.
myself. Hamaila.
Joby, thanks so much for the invite. I always appreciate it.
I don't have a lighter.
I know. And I think
I'm in my studio, so I got right.
You're welcome for the invite, my friends. It's great to
Yes.
remind you know that when we haven't been doing
It's my
every
candle.
Oh wait, we'll go, Lisa. Come on, Lisa. There we go. Everyone do the candle. We're just showing our fun
Toast you with my orange drink.
toast away.
That works.
A little bit of Perrier. Yes, and we know that it's been a little bit challenging because we haven't been every Tuesday for folks to remember. So again, thank you to Barb, who's got her screen blacked out. Not a good hair day, Barb, I'm not sure. But Barb is the one who sends you the text every Tuesday to remind you that it is this Tuesday to either enjoy your night off or come on and visit us at Sanctuary Online. So thank you. We know it's summertime and it's still too much fun to be outside. Hamaila, we just simply can't thank you enough. We hope you feel like you're a part of a Sanctuary Online and our Sanctuary in the Woods community. We'd love to see you when you're back in Austin, Texas.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Come on out, hug a goat.
Thanks
Okay.
so much.
Love to see y'all back in
Appreciate it.
Austin, Texas too.
No.
Right.
Come on down.